Good day, everybody. David Long here from the Mountain Men. Hey, guys, today I want to talk about planning to be a great dad. You know, I did a video just a little bit ago on planning to be a great dad with my daughter at the lake there, and I realized after watching the video later, I thought, man, you just opened up a whole can of worms. You can't talk about planning to be a great dad and not talk a little bit about the plan. So today we're going to talk, this is going to be planning to be a great dad part 2, okay? Let's do this right now. Guys, there's a lot that goes into planning to be a great dad. First, I want to say, why should I care? Why should I plan to be a great dad? Well, let me just put out a thought for everybody to consider, and that is, no nation will ever rise above the quality of the dads of the prior generation. So in other words, whatever you're seeing unfold in this country right now, here in the year 2021, is a reflection of the dads that we grew up with, okay? So if you care about your progeny, if you care about the future, if you care about anybody besides yourself, and I hope you do, then you're gonna want to care about being a great dad, okay? Because the whole future depends on us being great dads. So, and as soon as as soon as you have a child, and again, as I always say, I don't care if you're 14 or 74 or anywhere between, could be 84 for I don't care. If you're a man breathing air and you're watching this video, this applies to you. If you're not married yet, you're not going to be married for a long time, I want you to tune in, because this will have everything to do with what you view about your education, where you go to college and everything like that, and you'll understand as we go, okay? But if you're in your 30s, your 40s, and your 50s, I want you to watch this series on planning to be a great dad, because there's going to be something for everybody in here. So right now, I want to talk about the foundational ideas of planning to be a great dad. Number one is you need to plan to make enough money, okay? Now, a lot of men pursue a career because of maybe their passions or this, that, and the other. I want to just throw out a couple radical ideas. They're not going to be very PC, but I'm going to throw them out anyhow. You need to make enough money in two respects. Number one, so that your wife can stay home if she wants to. I know that's not very modern, all that kind of stuff. Women want to have their own career. I want to tell you something. If you make it eligible for your wife to stay home when she has that first child, and she looks into that child's eyes and she sees part of herself in that child, she sees herself right in the soul of that child, and that child is a blend of you, and it's a blend of her, and if you allow for that maternal instinct to kick in, she just might want to say to you, hey Bob, hey Sam, hey husband, I'm thinking, would you mind if I took a year and stayed home? And if you're making enough money, it takes that off the table. She doesn't have to have that pressure. So that's number one in terms of making enough money. And then add to that 20 grand in nowadays dollars. Now I know we're hitting hyperinflation here, or at least inflation, so you're gonna have to adjust this in the years to come. But in nowadays terms of 2021, add 20 grand. So how much do you need to make to have your wife stay home? I don't know, 80, 90, 100 grand. And then you go on from there and add 20K per kids. So we'll talk in other videos on how to do some income planning, how to do some career planning. But for right now, just set a benchmark. Because if you set a benchmark, if you set a goal, okay, I'm married, I don't have kids yet, or when I get married, I want to be making 70, 80, 90 grand base, and then I need to add 20 grand per kid. If you set some goals, you'll be more likely to reach them, and we'll talk more about that kind of planning down the road. Number two, you want to plan. The second part of planning to be a great dad is to plan to deal with your own stuff, the stuff that's inside of you. So now we're talking insecurity. Now we're talking bad habits. Now we're talking addictions. Now we're talking fear. Now we're talking perversions, wrong ways of thinking about manhood, whatever they are. And that's what the Mountain Men channel is devoted to, is helping you to discover and deal with those issues. And this will go to number 3 in just a second, but you need to plan to do a fair assessment, and I'll do what I can to help you down the road, but you need to plan to do a fair assessment. You need to make it safe for big men in your world to speak into your life and to say, hey Bob, you really need to deal with this issue, or you need to deal with this issue, you need to deal with this issue. And you need to invite those men into your life to help you make an assessment of what you need to deal with. But you need to be honest, and you need to have a plan to deal with your issues. Why? Because that goes to number 3. You need to plan to model great manhood. You need to plan to model great manhood. Let's talk about your daughters for a minute. You need to be in such good shape body, soul, and spirit, as it were. You need to be in good shape so that your daughter feels comfortable with you, your daughter looks up to you, your daughters look, they end up, after this fathering experience in your world, they end up saying, I want a husband just like my dad. Okay? And so you need to set that standard. You know, when your daughters become teenagers and go to college and so forth, and you say, I don't like this guy, I don't like that guy that she's dating. Well, what kind of guy do you like? And what kind of guy would you want them to marry? That's the kind of man you need to be. And so you need to have a standard of manhood that your daughter says, I want to marry a man just like my dad. And for your sons, the reason you need to model great manhood is because you want them to say, I want to be just like my dad. You know, historically, before the modern age, sons were known by their father. In other words, they were identified, that's Jesse, son of David, or that's David, son of William, or that's Bob, son of, you know, whomever. And they were associated with their father. And you know, back in the old days, they didn't even have a last name in most cases. They were known by David, son of Jesse, David, son of this man. And so nowadays, you know, we're all into independence. We're all into generational breakdown. We're all into, it doesn't really matter who my father was. Well, you know, going forward, everything matters as to who you are as a man to your kids. So go against the norm, guys. Go against the trends of the modern world and be the kind of man that your daughter wants to grow up and marry a man just like you, and be the kind of man that your son says, I want to be just like my dad, okay? So guys, this is just another installment and plan to be a great dad. I hope it's been helpful. If it has, guys, do me a favor. Hit that subscription and notification button, thumbs up. And as I always ask in all my videos, please share this with the guys in your world, your pastor, your brothers, you know, just all the men in your world, and help me build momentum here for the Mountain Men. Okay, guys? Hey, thanks for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you in the next Mountain Man video.